Welcome to Ground Up Growth. I'm Hannah Pittman, founder of Pittman Marketing, alongside my co-host Paul Hopper, principal broker of Hopper Real Estate Leaders. Together, we sit down with entrepreneurs and business leaders to share insights, strategies, and lessons to help you build success from the ground up.
Introducing the same company sponsors.
Mm-hmm. And then we can just pick up where. Is there anything else you feel like we need to bridge the gap between ministry and?
No, I'll kind of do it. I mean,
we could talk about us being there in COVID.
Yeah, COVID hit. We had to move back home, and we were really sitting on our couch in Birmingham and said, we're twiddling our thumbs. We got to do something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And move back to Cleveland.
All right. We're good, Riley?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today we are continuing episode 2 with Taylor and Katie Summers with Zoe Coffee and Zoe Ministries. Thank you all again for coming on. We're excited. The first episode we talked about the ministry, what all y'all do there, how you got there, how y'all met, and now we want to dive into the coffee side.
Mm-hmm. Opening your third coffee shop in Livingston.
Lord help us.
Third. Where are your other 2 locations?
We have one in downtown Cleveland and one in downtown Greenwood, right across from the Alluvion.
Very nice.
Right next to the Viking cooking school.
So bridge the gap for us between where we left off. We were kind of understanding the ministry and what all you did. You do.
Yeah.
Get us up to speed.
I guess it kind of goes back to right when we got married. We had a board meeting that fall of 2019. And we told our board that, one day we want to start some sustainable aspect to the ministry. So we're not having to hustle every Sunday, that we can kind of get back in church and we can just see this thing thrive and grow organically. And we presented the idea of a coffee shop within a 5-year plan. And they all kind of brushed it off. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really a thing. We fly back to Kenya that fall, come back home. We head out for January of 2020. Supposed to be there, 5 months? Mm-hmm. And woke up in the middle of March to a text from my dad and said, hey, did you see the statement from Trump? I said, no, I did not. And he said, well, he's shutting Europe down in, I think, 48 hours.
Closing borders.
So at that time, I was in Nairobi. I just dropped off some guests at the airport. Katie was in Kitale, 8 to 10 hours away. I called her at 3 a.m. and said, hey, what do you think? I think we might need to go on a flight tonight and get back home.
And I'm half asleep. And
yeah.
I was just like, you're being so dramatic. Like,
yeah.
Let's just go back to sleep and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Where were y'all?
We're both in Africa.
We were both in Kenya.
Uh-huh.
We had some guests come over the week before, and I flew them back to Nairobi, and they flew out that night back to the U.S., and Katie was still at our house in Kitale. And I woke up and saw that text from my dad. Mm-hmm. And I called her and said, hey, I think we might need to leave. And she was like, no, I think we're good. And I said, all right, I'll call you back in like an hour. Well, during that time, I went on and started booking flights.
I was going to say, what you guys for a flight?
Yeah. I had what we were doing. So I called her back at 4 a.m. maybe and said, hey, just FYI, there's a flight leaving Kitale at 7 and you're getting on it. Mm-hmm. I'll be in Nairobi waiting on you. We're flying out this afternoon to Dubai to avoid Europe. Yeah. And she was like, no, we're not. And she was
like we're living there. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, we're like visiting. We've got a few suitcases. We're living there. I have wet clothes on the clothesline outside. Like we're very.
That was the root of all the angriness.
We've got soggy clothes. What am I going to do with all this stuff? So just hustle, get everything packed up.
Holy cow.
Put all of our wet clothes in a plastic bag. And I made him in Nairobi, and thankfully we found a clothes dryer before we got on the airplane
and
to
at that
Dubai.
point, I mean, the COVID stuff, it's like we had no idea.
We had no idea.
Let us walk you through how it hit us. We had never flown to the Middle East. We kind of avoided it, just going, the flights are so much longer. We booked a flight through Emirates, 4 o'clock, flew into Dubai. This is late at night. We're going to get on our plane from Dubai to New York. And we see a line of people. We can't see the front of the line. Mm-hmm. So about after an hour and a half, 2 hours in this line, we finally get to the front. And it is a iPad. You have to walk single file like cattle through this little bitty, as wide as this table. And there's a man there with a thermometer.
Yeah.
shooting your forehead.
He has a hazmat suit on.
A hazmat suit with
like all the employees.
shooting your temperature. So like, we just waited 2 hours
to get our
go through
temperature
this.
taken.
I said, okay, things are different.
Yeah.
We get on the plane, fly into JFK. We're standing in the we're standing in the TSA line, and we're watching the news, and it's like New York will close down at midnight, and this is like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
that day. And we finally get back to Birmingham.
And everything shut down. Like we had to quarantine. We couldn't go anywhere because we had been traveling.
Yeah.
It was.
We were those idiots that were at Walmart the next morning at 4 a.m. buying toilet paper and all that stuff, thinking the world was coming to an end. Well, about after a month, you know, through everyone's Tiger King epidemic, first COVID, you know.
That was us.
I don't know anyone that didn't watch it. We were sitting there on the couch, and a little bitty condo in Birmingham. We were like, hey, we can't sit here like this sucks. And what about that idea of a coffee shop back in the Delta? And she was adamant that she didn't want to move back to Cleveland or move to Cleveland. And I was like, well, hey, we bought coffee from these people about a year and a half ago that we're adopting from this company. What if we just call them up and be like, hey, this is what we want to do. Will you help us? And we did that. They were based out of a little town in Illinois. We called them up and said, hey, we have this idea. We want to start this coffee shop back in my hometown. Will you help us start it? And they're like, yeah, we'll help you.
They're bored too.
They're bored.
too.
Everybody was.
No one's doing anything.
So they helped us everything from machines to
Yeah.
know what to do, to train us, to get
Wow.
coffee.
Yeah, we went back to Cleveland. We put our condo up for sale in Birmingham, probably the first or second week of April. And we met with our board, that same board that we met with almost a year before, and said, hey, we're going to start this coffee shop in downtown. We already found this building. And what do y'all think? And they were, all but one was pretty adamant that no. And I kind of hit them with, this is probably bad on my part, but I was like, you know, we're not really asking y'all permission. We're moving here. This will be a separate entity that my wife and I own.
Right.
And we've already like put our house for sale and we're moving.
Yeah.
And our accountant, and she's still the accountant today, looked at me across the table and said, and she was also a business owner, and said, I think you need to plan on making X dollars a year. And I left that meeting and I was like, Katie,
Was X a low number?
50,000. And I left that meeting thinking, oh my gosh, that's nothing. Like
Like
the
profit,
whole
50,000?
no revenue 50,000 a year in the little bitty town of Cleveland off a coffee shop. There was already a coffee shop half a mile away from us, and that stuck with me. And also in that meeting, there's a gentleman who is a CFO of a company for 30 years, and he asked me in that meeting, he said, what does it take to build, what does a cup of coffee cost? And I hit him with, I don't know. He said, what does a cup cost? What is the sleeve? What is the lid? What is
The ingredients.
What does it cost? I was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. And
He said, because that's going to be your basis off of everything. If you can find out how much a cup of coffee costs, like, then we can work from there.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
and that woman told me $50,000, and that was like a fire lit under me. I was like, okay, well, we do 5 months of renovation. This building, we completely gutted it. Put way too much money into a building that I don't own. And yeah, long story short, we'd look up and we opened October 27th. The ministry took precedent. And I'll tell this quick story. 2 days before we opened, it really was a check on my heart of what was more important. I got a call from our boss in Kenya saying, hey, we had a court case with a child that we had rescued, and I could hear the tone in his voice that something was off. And I was like, let him talk, and I hung up. And I called him back and said, hey, man, do you need me there? And he said, it would be really nice. And I was like, okay, we're about to open this coffee shop. What do we do?
In 2 days?
In 2
Yeah.
days.
And Katie was like, you get on a plane and you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was an important court case for a little girl who needed support, and that's why we exist. And so he was in Africa when we opened our very first coffee shop.
It gives me chills. Yeah, the gentleman that sat in that room and said, what is a cup of coffee? He said, you go, I'll help Katie. You go. So yeah, I flew over, was there for 10 days, flew back in, and he pulled us into a meeting and said, okay, I thought I was giving y'all like a horse in a carriage. Y'all got a Ferrari. We got to figure out how to get this thing to make sure you don't fall in that stat that, so many small businesses fell in 18 months. He said, if you don't look up and start looking at numbers different today, you will be in that. And that grasped me that said, and my biggest fear in life is failure. So I'm sure you can relate. I said, I'm going to stay up all night to make sure that it hits and the numbers are what we need it to be so we don't fall into that stat. And yeah, that accountant calls me every month, and she's blown away that what she thought was 1 year is usually minimum 1 month now. And for one location, which is kind of a godsend, but it's been so incredible to see. The vision for these shops was that you can't have coffee without clean water. So our coffee shops help fund a lot of our clean water work. We kind of stay in that narrow lane because it's so relatable. We're able to donate, large sums of money at the end of the year from this thing that we started that we thought was going to be nothing, and to give back and see those communities that we get to fly over and take our kids and be like, hey, this business that mom and dad started and all these people play a part, this is what it did.
Wow.
And it drives us, man. And you know this too, that sometimes staff are the hardest, because
100%.
The hardest part of the job is people.
It took a guy telling me 3 or 4 years ago that I needed to quit looking at all staff as if they were going to give what I give. And he said, in no staff that you hire will you have someone that cares about it as much as you do. So quit expecting them to. And he said, work with them to get them up to a certain standard, but know that they will not care as much as you do. They don't walk in and look at the baseboards in the bathrooms.
Yeah. Or if they see them, they're not going to care.
Yeah, they're not going to care.
Right.
I want to stop here and tell you about our sponsors for today's episode, Service Specialists and Environment Masters. Maybe you're hiring and you need the right person, not just the next resume in the stack. Or maybe you're the one quietly wondering if there's a career that better aligns with your future. Either way, Service Specialist starts the same. They take the time to know you. Mississippi's oldest recruiting firm, connecting talent and employers since 1967, because the right fit comes from relationships, not job boards. Find them at servicespecialistltd.com. This episode is also sponsored by Environment Masters. When your AC quits in the middle of a Mississippi summer, you don't want a voicemail. You want a real person who shows up on time and does the job right. Environment Masters has been keeping local homes cool, dry, and running since 1957. 3 generations, honest opinions, no upselling. Just HVAC, plumbing, and electrical done the way it should be. Learn more at environmentmasters.com. And thank you both for sponsoring this episode.
And so we started this first shop in Cleveland. 5 years into it, we got a call from some friends in Greenwood that asked us if we would consider starting one there. Our immediate response was absolutely not. We went over to see the space, and the good people at Viking talked us into it to put one in right across from the Alluvion to kind of partner. And it's been a godsend. Yeah. The people of Greenwood have, like, from a ministry perspective as well, have really supported us, and they've really bought into this coffee shop. And we always wanted to bring one here.
Yeah, we joked when we moved here 2 years ago. I was like, that would be a great place for a coffee shop. Talking about the Livingston, just location in general. And then the more we got here, I was just like, it's probably way too expensive. It's probably something that's just a pipe dream. It's just too much, that more than we can handle. But as things continue to progress in the other shops, and we've seen the communities just really envelop us and really just support and love on us, and we've gotten plugged into the community here, doors just started opening, and it really felt like it was a good time and a good place for us to bring it here.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely is. And I remember they posted, I think Lisa posted on the Livingston page. It was like, what business would y'all want to see come here? And like every
Yeah, we were tracking that too.
I'm sure y'all were. And I know she's been trying to get y'all for a while, because I think one of the first times I heard about y'all, she's like, I'm trying to get these people to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited for
Yeah,
y'all.
no doubt about it. And I mean, having God as the centerpiece of y'all's business model is just, I mean, I know it's scary, like trying to do these things, like going out on a limb and doing the deal in Cleveland and all that. But I mean, with him as the centerpiece, like there's also that element of like, let the chips fall where they may, because you're with inside his will. So it's going to work, you know? I mean, I think leaning in on your faith through the business model is, I mean, I think y'all done an extremely good job with that. Y'all got a great story. And like I said in the beginning, like you're not just talking about it, you're being about it. And for somebody to run a business, build a business, deal with the headaches of a business, like I'm saying, just say it what it is. I mean, like dealing with people and just customers and staff and all that, like that's the last thing you probably want to do, because you are thinking about Kenya and you want to get back over there, but you sow the seed here, the profits you take, you turn and dump it into Kenya. I mean, that's a pretty selfless act. And
it's really cool to see like the organic growth of the ministry through the shop. Like and I think like we do a 5K in the Delta every year. It's become one of the biggest races in the Delta. And I think we average 50 to 55 sponsors a year for that. And I'd be willing to bet you that 75% of those sponsors learned who we were through a cup of coffee, through walking in that building. So like I get excited about opening this thing, and we do an event at Broadmoor every year. It'll be in March, but like being able to go in and be like, okay, we had 10 sponsors this year. What if next year through these cup of coffees we have 30? And it's like being able to organically grow that, but also on the contrary, like you got to show these people what you're doing.
right.
Like you can't come to Paul and be like, hey man, I got this, I need this.
Right. Yeah.
Will you help? And then he never hears from you again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is like, I tell people all the time, a lot of what we learned in day one was seeing people do it the wrong way.
Yep.
I think you're hitting a really good point, because back to Catherine Rogers' deal, like I personally donate to that, but she'll send cards, send me emails. And it's like, when you see that stuff come to fruition, like it just makes me want to help more. So
And that's,
you already got one more donor coming.
Our oldest son has autism, special needs. And so like we relate to Catherine. So like as a business, we own Zoe Coffee, Katie and I. We dictate where the profits go. Yes, 75 to 80% we do donate to Zoe Ministries, but there are 2 or 3 other organizations that we give heavy to, and she is one of those, because we relate to her through our own child. Like we were in Kenya a few weeks ago. Our 6-year-old Jonas spent 2 days with her. Yeah, it's like, hey, we got to go do some work
at her center, like with other Kenyan children who have disabilities, and that's the organization that she does. And it was really cool. You have to see all of our worlds collide.
And like, you know, we've helped fund things like, and sometimes, you know, we help fund this swing 2 or 3 years ago for, you know, children.
Sensory swing.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't a significant amount of money, and you forget about it. But every time I see her, she thanks me for funding that swing. And I see her.
we see her often. She's like, thank you for the swing.
Like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, yeah, we did that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But it's like, that matters from like, I get it from the other side. Like, all those people that give to Zoe, we have to stay in depth. Like, we have a whole platform that we have that we go in and communicate with them. And every time we write a thank you letter, it's recorded, like all that stuff. But like from a donor, people like Catherine, it is so important, because when you write that check to somebody and they fall off the face of the earth, the last thing you want as an organization is for doubt to creep in.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Same thing with the business.
Yeah.
I tell people with these coffee shops that this new staff that we hired, they had a very in-depth meeting last week with me. Like, I'm the bad guy. She's way too nice. I was like, listen, this is what it's going to be. People will walk in here and they will think charity.
Right.
If they have a bad cup of coffee, they might give you one more opportunity. I said, if they have 2 bad cups of coffee, they don't care about what charity you got behind you. They want quality product. So allow the cup of coffee to be great, but allow your story to just add on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That we can't serve mediocre stuff because we have an awesome story. And
That's so true.
it's something, because when we started that shop in Cleveland, the number one question that we received throughout small town Delta, number 2, are you going to push your beliefs on me?
Right.
Do I have to care about your work? Like, can I just come in and get a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Can I just walk in and get a cup of coffee and not care about what you do? Absolutely.
People gonna be people at the door like, do you want to know?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And so
No. And when we do charity
You want a
stuff,
latte or you want a donut?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And do you want to dig a water well?
And the same thing with, like, when we go speaking engagements and have all these events, I'm not a used car salesman, and this is no knock on them, but I'm not going to get up there and beg for money.
Yeah.
I've been to those events and they make my back sweat, and I'm not even up there on stage. Like, when we go in, we tell the story like we've told you and say, hey, this is what we've done this year. These are the lives impacted. Do you want to be a part of it? And next year I can get up here and say, hey, you were involved in this. Not that, hey, we need this, I need it today. We're not going to we're going to go out of business if you don't help. We don't storytell that way. And I think that's why we've related so much, is because the storytelling aspect is king.
I think that's a really good point, because as a donor, I never really thought about this, but you're asking me for money. Like, please donate, please donate.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit, but
Yeah.
if you just paint the picture and it's my idea,
Sure.
like the guy that just wrote the check, showed up Monday and wrote
Yep.
the check for the house, like, it's his idea. You didn't ask him for any money. He just said cool story on Friday and called you on Monday and wrote you a check for the house. I think I really like that, because that's where, as a donor, I'm like, man, I want to give.
Yeah.
I'm way more wanting to give if you're not trying to pry it out of me.
Sure.
I think that's,
You just allow the Holy Spirit to do the work.
Yeah.
When you
and
tell the
back to
story,
whole
you
let the
you
chips fall
present
where they
it.
may,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
Like,
Do the
one of our
best you
biggest
got.
questions that I hate to name drop it, like Logan Cook, people constantly asking, like Walton the other day at the shop, said, man, how did y'all connect with him? I said, man, I really don't know.
Yeah, we didn't try.
I said, but one thing that I will tell you is we've never asked him for money.
Mm.
I said, when his wife reached out to us 6 years ago, she said, hey, we really want to be involved. And I sent an email and said, hey, this is what we do. She said, well, how can we help? And I said, hey, there's a community that we're looking at drilling, and there's so many people, and this is what this well will do, period. Not, hey, can you please give to make this work?
right.
It was, hey, this is what it's going to do. And she writes back and says, hey, where can we send a check?
Yeah. How much?
Yeah, how much? And that relationship has grown, but over the last 6 years and us taking McKinsey and all this stuff, all we do is present what they've already been a part of, and their giving grows every year. It's like, we don't ask. We say, hey, this is what you're already doing. And they're like, yeah, man, this is what we want to be involved with. What do you need? Like, how can we help more? And you present the idea.
Yeah.
And I get so adamant about that, is the moment I walk into a fundraising event and I see a giving card and like a pledge thing on my table, I kind of check out.
Yeah.
Because I know at some point there's going to be an awkward conversation.
Right. Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. It's like Mississippi State sending me a letter with a envelope return. They put the return label on it so I can put a check in there. No,
Yeah,
it ain't happening.
Mm.
exactly. It's
Call me
like,
and tell me what you're doing, and don't ask for money, and I'll probably do it.
like our big end of the year campaign that we do, we have a book that we create, and it's simply stories from the cover to the end. Nothing but stories of what happened in 2026, and stats to back up those stories, quotes from the people impacted, awesome media. And at the end of it, we say, hey, would you be a part of it? It's just a question. It's, hey,
Yeah.
would you be a part of it?
And that could be in any capacity. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
monetary capacity.
Exactly.
It could be digging a well or
Exactly.
whatever.
Sure.
I
Exactly.
like that.
I think that's so great. And it's very parallel to just your typical business,
Mhm.
where if you just have a good foundation and you do storytelling really well, like the rest will work out. You'll attract the right customers. You'll convert the right customers if you just tell that story well. And for y'all, especially when it's ministry driven and faith is the foundation, you're just saying what God's been doing, and the Holy Spirit's going to do the work and push the right people in your direction. And I bet y'all have story after story after story of just like the right person coming in, and you're like, because God's just cool. Like that, how he does
it's true.
Yeah.
And just back to the coffee shop, full circle, in my history of just like being a student, like growing up, going to random coffee shops, being a college student, coffee shops have always been like a sacred place. It's been like a holy ground where I've met with different girls and mentors, where I've studied, where I've prayed. And it really is neat to see that this is, I don't know, it really is a really cool full circle moment. We want to create an atmosphere that feels sacred, that feels welcoming, that is not just, you know, this is a good cup of coffee and this is how you can support a ministry. Like, we want you to feel like you're wanted here. And that's our whole goal in this shop in Livingston, is to have welcoming spaces, anything from the lighting to the books to the decor, and then a really good cup of coffee and really good hospitality. Like, we want you here. And I think ministry is a bonus. Like, you will have a QR code on your table that tells you about the ministry, but we're not gonna throw it down your throat whenever you walk in the door. But we want you to feel something different when you walk in our doors. For sure.
That is awesome.
I love it. I'm so excited. I got to see the space earlier this week, and I think y'all have done that really well. I'm excited for it.
When is opening day?
Monday.
Soft opening Monday.
Monday,
Get ready,
the
baby.
20th.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
So the first episode will come out this following Tuesday.
Okay.
And then the second will be that next week. So y'all will be,
I have been open.
yeah,
Come see
Pray
us.
for us.
Come see us.
it's going to be great.
That is.
And they
awesome.
did make me a cup of coffee when I was there, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Huh.
We had a girl come in before you, and this is our kid, our not kids, some of our kids though, but they were training, and they handed that cup of coffee off, and I looked at it, and I was like,
Looks like tea.
I stopped the girl. I said, "Taste that right now." And she's like, "Yeah, it's pretty weak." I was like, "No, that ain't gonna cut it." And I said, "Send it back and let them make you a new one." I said, "That's how we operate. Like, you're not gonna walk out of here with some mediocre product
Yeah.
that you knew when you first tasted it was bad."
Mhm.
Ask them to make you, and that's a pet peeve of mine of a businessman. I'll have family and friends call me, like, "Hey, I went by your shop in Greenwood, and there was something off about my drink." I was like, "Well, I'm in Madison right now. You should have told the girl behind the counter. Ask them to make
Yeah.
you a new one." I was like, "That's the only way we're going to perfect this. Like,
Sure.
you can't walk out because
We're not charity coffee.
Yeah, if I don't
we're not
know-
charity coffee. Like, get
We
them to
want
make you
charity
another
coffee.
one."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. And shout out to our friends at Native Coffee. If
Yeah.
anybody's a big coffee shop connoisseur in the Jackson area, Native and Soapbox Roasters they're doing our coffee. And so it's really good.
Great people.
Great people, great coffee.
Awesome.
Well, thank y'all so much
Yeah,
for
for
coming on.
sure.
This has been an incredible story, and I think y'all doing a really good job. And I'm looking forward to drinking some coffee. And you got a new fan. I'm gonna
Cool.
be one of
Wish
your
I would
daughters
brought
too.
some
So
stuff.
So excited for y'all to open. Gonna be praying it goes smoothly.
Yes.
As I'm sure it will be great. And I hope all of our listeners will swing by, try it, follow y'all. And I think hopefully you'll have a lot of success out there.
Good deal. We hope so. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank
Thank you.
y'all.
Yes, it was. Yeah, we enjoyed this.